Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's dive into a story about workplace justice, where careful observation and a clever plan led to a well-deserved comeuppance for an underhanded coworker. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Try to put your mistakes on my name? Take a month to cool down. Some background before we start. So I work in a hospital where we deal with a lot of foot traffic on a daily basis. I work as the main pharmacist and so on an average day dispense drugs to anywhere up to 200 patients. An obvious requirement of the job is not screwing up the patient's drugs, as that can have some insanely bad side effects. So we have a system you have to log into with your own code that'll then register all sales under your initials. Problem with this system is that if you have any basic understanding of the system, you can change the initials to anyone else's as long as they're registered on the system. I'm not exactly God's gift to man when it comes to work. I excel in finding the simplest way to perform a task as simply and efficiently as possible, and so I'm always able to complete my work at 100% quality with massive amounts of time to spare. I work with another chap who'd likely cause himself a great injury if he dropped from his ego to his IQ. From this point, I shall refer to him as egotistical, obnoxious, dumb butt, or EOD to shorten it. EOD has been at the company for around 3 years now, and in that time has managed to get a week-long suspension, something no one has ever managed to do before. He managed this by lying to the point where a client took the company to court. In other words, this company is extremely lax on punishments. Over the last 3 years together, EOD and I have had some major run-ins concerning attitude, treatment of others. It got exceptionally bad around 9 months ago when I realized he was manipulating the system so that he never worked his weekends, but was forcing others to take those shifts by some clever shift swapping. Essentially, it meant he was working 16 hours less a month than he should have. I said nothing to management, as frankly I found it slightly amusing that he was managing to dupe management so well, and all the people around him could not figure out why their hours had increased. I pointed out to him that I realized he was being dodgy and got the response, "Well, no one will catch me." So now to the story. This goes back about 6 months ago. I get called into the practice manager's office over a series of mistakes made over a 5-day period, all under my name. Now, normally I don't make mistakes. Think maybe one minor oversight in 5 years. So when I get called in for major errors over 5 days, I'm already wary of something. I get informed that I'll be undergoing a disciplinary hearing at the end of the week. I had 3 days to prepare my defense and remember why I screwed up. Needless to say, I went back to my office and started checking up all my errors. Something jumped out at me. All the days listed, I was on leave. As a gift, the company gives us our birthday off. I'd taken the other 4 work days off to disappear into the mountains. Immediately, red flags started appearing before me. I asked for a meeting and was told to wait for my hearing. Friday comes and my hearing starts. 3 minutes later, I've pointed out that on those days, I was 2,000 kilometers away. There was no way I could have given out those drugs. Hearing this, management double-checks this, realizes their error, and does what they should have done from the beginning, check the GD cameras. A quick check confirms that yes, I was on leave, but EOD was the one who'd made all the screw-ups. Immediately, EOD is called in and suspended for a week for the mistakes and is to come back in 6 days for a secondary hearing concerning his use of my initials to blatantly get in trouble. The rest of the company's told he has taken leave, so no one expects anything except me, the target of said machinations. To keep me in the loop, I'm told that his behavior will be punished, but the company cannot afford to let him go, as he's good with some clients and finding a replacement and training them is difficult and expensive. I nod in understanding and leave it at that, though under the surface I'm seething. Here comes my revenge. Instead of coming right out and snitching, I instead draw some roster diagrams with lines showing all the sneaky shift switches EOD had performed with the ladies in the office. It takes a day or so before I hear rumblings from the ladies as they begin to put the pieces together. A few reports later, and a full-scale investigation of his actions reveals a few more little sneaky maneuvers pulled off by EOD. Come D-Day, in comes EOD with a smug smile on his face. That smile, though, was transferred to me as I watched him leave with a 3-week suspension without pay. Fun fact, EOD's been the blue-eyed boy around here for 3 years. Like myself, he started as a weekend student but was able to cover 3 times the shift as everyone else was working 2 jobs and actually going to university, where he had just this one and was not studying. Needless to say, management loves having someone freely available to cover shifts when people were sick, and it gave him a protected status. That status pulled through to both of us becoming full-time. Needless to say, he's gotten away with some ridiculous things over the years. I would think with something as potentially dangerous as screwing up medication, you'd just fire the guy. I hate that type of management. And our second story. Just because I helped someone doesn't mean I work here. I was at a local grocery store to buy some chickens and ingredients for deep fry. I wait on one of those self-checkout lanes and I see a short lady struggling to scan a watermelon. The 2 staff members who usually work there were busting their butts helping other people with their stuff. The short lady must have either lacked English skills because she was struggling to interpret the direction on the screen, and since she was taking so much time on the watermelon, I decided to help her. I had to show her slowly, step by step, on how to search for items by picture, followed by narrowing down on the category, then showing her how to weigh/enter quantity of the item. She thanked me and went on her way, and since I was up next in the first place, I thought I might as well use station she had just used, so I started using the station for my stuff: chickens, baking powder, spices, etc. While I was going through my items, I heard a loud cough behind me. I thought of it as nothing much, but it continued. When I was at the point of inserting my card of the payment, I heard a rude, "Excuse me, can you stop what you're doing and help me?" behind me. I turned around to see a snobby but Karen-type woman crossing her arms and giving me stink eyes. Me, are you talking to me? Karen, yes, you. I've been trying to get your attention for a while now. Me, and why would you need my attention? Karen, because I need help on checkout with my items and loading them into my car. She points to her shopping cart, which is piled with food, snacks, drinks, etc. Me, why would I do that? Karen, are you stupid and deaf? Me, excuse me? Karen, you need to help customers as an employee. I saw you help that short woman with the watermelons. Why aren't you helping me? It should be noted that the grocery store I went to have their uniforms for employees, and I was in no way dressed like one of them. Me, first off, I don't work here. Second, she only had one item. Karen, don't you dare lie to me, and who gives a crap how many items a customer brings up? You need to help your customers. Me, like I said, I don't work here. Please grab someone else's attention. Karen, why aren't you even in your uniform? I'm getting the manager and we'll have you fired. Me, by all means, do it. Karen storms off screaming, "Where's the manager?" while I finish off paying and getting my stuff into bags. Now, I could have easily gone about my day, but I was really curious to see how it all ends. About 5 minutes later, Karen comes back with what I could only assume is the manager, and she finds and points her finger at me. Karen, see, there's your employee who was rude to me. I want that a-hole fired. Manager, so you forcibly dragged me in the midst of chaos with how understaffed we are to ask me to fire someone who doesn't even work here? This is the first time I've seen him. Karen, no, you don't understand. I want him fired. Manager, he doesn't work here. Now either buy your items or leave the store. Karen gasps at how someone dares to be rude to her while the manager waved her off and started to walk away. I chuckle and start walking out of the store. Here's the real cherry on top. As I continued to walk out of the store, I heard a loud crash behind me. I turned around to see Karen has somehow knocked over her cart, spilling everything she had on her cart. Did I mention she also had a bunch of jars of pickled craps in her cart? There was broken glass and pickle juice, which was soaking anything that was in the box, everywhere. The manager comes back and face palms and groans and tells Karen she has to pay for the damaged items, while Karen lets out a full-on siren call. I laughed really hard. I finally got out of the store. How do Karens make it to adulthood? They don't seem to have enough brain cells to make it through a day, let alone years. And our last story. HOA president called the police on me. My garage floor was in need of a deep cleaning, so I rented a power washer this morning. Background: the garages are detached from my unit. This is in a condo complex. All garages are side by side and directly across from a small parking lot. There's a hose in front of each unit, which is used primarily to water the grass in front, and some use it to wash their car as well. Anyway, as I'm in the middle of power washing my garage, had to keep the door up, the HOA president runs up to me and starts frantically screaming, "You're not allowed to do that!" I reply that I'm almost finished, and besides, the hose is free for all to use. She then proceeds to turn off the water and disconnect the hose from the faucet and shut off the water supply from the main. As the room where the water can be turned on and off is accessible by all, I inform her that I will connect my own hose and turn the water back on. She then informs me that would constitute trespassing and the police will be called, to which I laugh, inform her what trespassing actually means, and remind her that my common charges go toward the water bill. She actually denied that common expenses pay for the water bill, and I replied, "That's fine. I was about to send a certified letter to get financials for the past 8 years anyway." She keeps yapping at me, so I finally tell her to shut the F up, and that the one and only reason she's yapping away at me is that 1. I've sued the HOA and further litigation is very likely in the near future. 2. She's the stereotypical crapbag, power-hungry Karen with nothing better to do with a Sunday morning than complain at someone simply trying to clean their garage. Yes, that's what I said, verbatim. An hour later, there's a knock on my door by the town police. The officer had an almost apologetic tone. He tried to explain to the crapbag that this is an HOA issue and nothing more, but she insisted that someone come out. This is a very quiet suburb with police that have very little to do. He basically just said to defuse the situation, which I will, as this whole event honestly got me a bit shaken up. Of course, nothing happened beyond that. Violation letters will undoubtedly be on the way, and I'm sure they'll hold yet another hearing shortly. There's nothing in the CCRs about outdoor water usage per se, just general language about the use of common elements. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.